All right, welcome to the first pen tool activity that we're going to use a real image for. And we're going to start out with a simple image of some shoes. And everyone will use the same one, so I'm going to go ahead and open up from my computer a pair of Air Maxes here. And what we're going to do is add a little bit of a glow effect or edit this photo so that it creates almost like light up shoes or some unrealistic take similar to like the Nikes from Back to the Future, right? So we're gonna add. I'm gonna do blue, but you could change it to whatever you want. You could do red, green, yellow, any color you'd like. I just think light blue tends to look pretty cool. We're gonna do a couple things together, and then you'll be able to kind of run with it in terms of what other items you want to do. If you want to do every single Nike check like the little one, you can. Um, you know, we're going to start out with this one first, right? So we have a nice, relatively smooth object to trace. So I'm going to grab the pen tool and I'm going to get rid of my fill color, and I'm actually going to leave stroke off as well, and I'm just going to use my regular line. So if you click off of the shape, so if you click and then you click over here, you're going to lose your items here. You're not going to be able to see them, so you're going to have to hit Control Z to bring it back, right? So I went all the way back. I have no shapes, and you have to keep track of your pen, or else you're going to have a million shapes and not be able to do this. The only way that you can do it is if you keep things as one shape as you trace over top of them. Okay, so I'm going to start by clicking here, and I'll see if I can get this in one chunk. I don't know if I can. I'll go to about here. I can get pretty close, and you don't have to be dead on, but we're going to do a couple different things throughout. So that's about close enough. If I need to change it, I can. I'm going to hold Alt here and just bring this down because I don't need it to go that far up. And I'm going to kind of zoom in and see what I can do. Again, I'm hitting Control Z a good bit, and I'll just hit that click one time to end. I'm going to come back here and keep this chunk relatively small to about there. I'm going to hold Alt and bring this down, kind of change direction to keep it right along, and see if I can hit the top. And I can. This is looking kind of jagged, maybe not the best. I'm going to go back and redo that. So again, it doesn't have to be perfect. That's looking kind of funky there. And unfortunately, I think it's going to no matter what, unless I change the chunks. Or I can grab my direct select, kind of bring this down and edit it a little bit. Right? That looks decent. All right. Looks like a Nike check. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You'll see it adds a red view on your layer over here because there's no color and no stroke. And for this one, we are going to add a fill to it at the end. We're gonna fill it with white. All right, and I'm going to give you a quick example of what it looks like whenever it is, glowing and all that, and it'll show you how to set up your layer style. So once you have your first shape, so this is the Nike check. If you want to rename it, you can. That way it'll keep, you organized as you're looking through. So this shape is obviously the Nike check, and I'm going to double click it and go into the layer style effects. All right, and I'm going to add an outer glow. And I'm going to change my color picker to a very, very bright blue. The brighter the color, the better. Again, you can do like a bright green or something if you want, but blue tends to look the best. So I'll hit OK, and I'm going to change my size here and just bring it out a little bit. And I'm going to change my opacity as well. I'm going to change that to 100%. Opacity means how much you can see through it. So I'm going to change that to 100%. You could add spread to it, but we don't want like a ton of glow. We want the size to spread out. And at a certain point, it'll be spread out too far. So find your medium there and it'll look pretty good. And if you change it to precise, it'll give you a little bit more. So I recommend changing technique to precise. It looks kind of cooler. It gives you a little bit more glow. All right, so that changes from that to this, right? So if I zoom out, up close it doesn't look as realistic, but now it looks a little bit realistic, like it's glowing, right? So now what I'm going to do is move down, and you can kind of choose where you want to go from here. If you wanted to add this white glow effect to all of the items that are white, you can. That's a lot of tracing though. Instead, what we're going to do is I'm going to trace the bubbles, and then to make it even more realistic, I'm going to trace the bubble back here too. All right, so I'm going to use my pen tool and figure out where I want to start. So maybe about there. I'm going to click and drag out to help get that circle. And I still have my fill on, so I do have to change that. Right, so I'm pretty far off there. I'm going to have to kind of change what I'm doing here and see if I can get it. And you might have to finish the shape and then come back and edit too, because that's going to change as soon as you connect. I think I have too much of I'm trying to take out too much of a chunk. I might have to do something like that and then come back and edit that one. So that's what I'll do. All right, so I'm just going to continue on. I'm going to get rid of my fill color so that I can see what in the world I'm tracing. And I'm just going to try and stay as close as I can onto the line around this bubble. And I know that I am probably making it look easier than you on a touchpad, but again, you're just clicking and dragging, keeping it in one shape. So I'm gonna have to pull this in closer. Right? More practice you do, hold Alt, change this handle, the easier it will get. All right, so I'm just tracing around my bubble here. You don't have to be dead on, but you do want to be pretty close. All right, so this right here is off, so I'm going to use my direct select and see if I can bring these around until they're not off. So let me zoom in. So unfortunately with Photopea it manipulates kind of both sides instead of just one side, which is annoying. But again, it doesn't have to be perfect. That's close enough. And instead of making this one white, I'm just going to do the glow around it, because if I make it white, you won't be able to see the detail here. Which, I mean, would work and it would look cool. It would make sense that it was lighting up. But we're going to rename this Bubble 1. I'll double click and go to my outer glow again. And for the most part, it saves what you have on this one and transfers it to the next layer style that you choose. So what happens whenever you do that? It gives you a real sharp edge here, right? You can tell you traced it. That's not great. So I'm going to click back into my Bubble 1, and I'm going to add an inner glow too. And by default, it's yellow. We want to choose close enough to the exact same blue. You could use the color picker and get the right one, but you could just get close enough and then adjust the size a little bit, and it'll really feather in that edge, and it doesn't give you quite as much of that same effect of that sharp line going across. Right, and you can play around with the settings to get something that works for you. Right, you can either fill the whole thing in if you do the max size there. Right, so how you leave it is kind of up to you. If you want it to look like that, awesome, more power to you. So far we got the Nike check, Bubble 1. Now I'm going to grab these two bubbles back here and add the glow there as well. If you wanted to do a different color glow on those ones, you can. Right? No real rules on this, just showing you how to do it. Your color choices are totally up to you. So I'm going to trace this bubble. Let me turn my fill off. Again, as long as you keep it as one shape and you're like close enough, it'll give you a much nicer desired effect. So let me zoom out. Where is that bubble actually ending? So it looks like it's ending here, and that's part of the white shoe, but it's getting a reflection. So I want to come to about there, hold Alt. I need to change the direction of this line down just like that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So that's bubble 2. Outer glow, again, saves it. Inner glow, saves it from your last item. So those two now match. All right, I'm gonna do it to this one. Pretty hard to see. Definitely gonna have to zoom in. This one is a really a close enough type of deal because you can't even really tell everything you're looking at anyway. So again, notice how many times I'm hitting Control Z and fixing. If you're trying to do it without hitting Control Z, you're gonna be really frustrated. All right, there's that shape. That's bubble 3. And I'll add my outer glow. Let me get rid of that drop shadow on accident. And my inner glow. All right, so we added some glow effects to some simple things. If you wanted to add something additional, so I'll say this part is, you know, you don't have to do it, but if you wanted to trace this to give it a nice ring on one of these, a different color, that would be awesome. So to do that, you would, again, pick your starting point and you would have to trace all the way around it. So keep in mind, you got to go around and back. Whoops. So again, this part's optional. If you feel like you got the hang of it, do it. If not, stop at the bubbles. Again, definitely a close enough thing because you're not going to see exactly where your lines are. That's how we keep them. Notice I went around that lace because I don't want it. I want the lace to appear like it's still over top. Again, one shape. There we go. One shape. Let's change it. We'll name it stripe, I guess. And let's add it. Let's add a glow to it. So the blue looks kind of cool. You could totally do it that way. I'm gonna make this inner glow less. See how it looks. Right? That looks kind of cool. You could do it like that. You could do it like you got a different different color glow on that one. So we can change our outer glow to like maybe yellow, red, green, purple. Yeah, let's do purple. Do some neon colors. Change our inner glow too. See how that looks. It's pretty cool. Let's see how the purple looks with an inner glow that's full. Yeah, I like that. All right, so I guess the next step, if you do this, would be to do this side over here, and that would be it. So I'll go ahead and do it so that you have an example. But again, the main assignment is the check and these 3 bubbles. Right? Anything else that you do is totally up to you. You could do this check up here to make it even. But again, I'm just going to do this really quick just because it's pretty easy to get while I'm right here. To even out my glow. Boom. And that's it. Once you have this, you're going to save it. You want to save it as a PSD. It'll save it as just AirMax, and then once you upload it, I'll be able to tell who it's from. All right. Good luck. Nice job, guys. Can't wait to see your results.